This is where all the extra plants are going, and actually the tank next to it, because there are going to be a lot of plants that come out of here that are not going back in. Welcome to the 20-gallon rescape. This is the tank that you chose. 40% of you chose to do this one first, and I was, well, I'd like to say excited, more like I was not excited to show you the state of affairs, how it looks right now. But it was holding a lot of extra plants. You know how it goes, you get extra plants, and I would typically put them in this tank because the tank was doing very well. And I had lots of little farmers, like my little Blue Dream shrimp in there. And I have really a nice little collection of tinies that are going into different tanks, and that includes the chilies. I've got some exclamation point raspberries and others that have come out here, and I do believe a couple of cories, and you'll see more in a little bit. Now, I have made the choice initially not to put the rummy nose back in, so it will not be called the rummy nose tank anymore, because they, I believe, will be going into the 125-gallon nano tank, which you will see in a little bit. I have some extra fun inhabitants coming into this tank. I am very excited. The tank clean out is just so satisfying, and then of course there are always little stragglers, and you wouldn't believe the size of my Blue Dream shrimp. They're huge, and of course a lot of yuck came out of the tank, and those were like my rocks. What is he doing in here? I have no idea, but he will be joining the rest of his crew in the 22 upstairs. For right now, my boost will hang out in here in preparation for another scape. Oh yeah, look at that. Vallisneria is coming into this tank, and the only thing you need to be careful of is not to bury it too deep. I wanted a very cohesive look, I call it simple scaping. You might want to call it straightforward, just a very simple design, because the two versions that have been the predecessor for this tank, that's kind of been my arch nemesis, which you saw in the very beginning, the intro, the first two, so you can go back and look at them, the two versions that started, that I actually did not like either of them. They were very busy to me. They just kind of stressed me out, and I wanted a very simple scape. I call it a wall. I've seen this multiple times. It's just kind of like a template that I call it. A lot of rocks, basically covering from the entire base of the tank, from left to right, just kind of a wall of rock, and then not much going on in front of it, like no plants, and then plants in the backdrop. That's it. And we'll actually see how well that kind of concept turns out, but sometimes it is also easier said than done, and a simple design in your head not necessarily will translate when you start putting them together, because I really do think that the rocks need to kind of talk to each other. They need to kind of go in the same direction, kind of form a nice little cohesive kind of visual wave or kind of direction throughout the tank, and not cause any kind of, I don't know, stress for the viewer. And you will notice that the tank is filled halfway. That's kind of issue number one, and I chose to do it this way because I needed to see the val kind of floating a little bit. If there's no water in here, it's very difficult, and I did the val first. Typically I will put the rocks in first, the substrate, which already is in there, so that's kind of issue number two. Is it's not squeaky clean brand new substrate. I am reusing the old substrate, which, you know what, I'm just going to go with that. It's going to be more natural. It'll probably take a few water changes to kind of clear it up a little bit, so it won't be a squeaky clean scape from the get-go, but you know what, that's okay. It's going to have lots of good bacteria already in there, and I didn't warn you, but yes, this tank also requires me to steal a few plants from the 125. But don't worry, because Mr. Primetime knew it, because all these crypts are growing up right along the front glass, and it's just kind of, it's ruining the vibe. So I'm taking these off of his hands. It can be a little tricky pulling out any plants that have been there quite quite a long time because they are all melded together in kind of like a mat, and you can really go crazy and pull out the entire bunch. Looking back, I really wish I would have just left this kind of clump of happy crypts stuck together. I really do, because once you start pulling them apart, yes, you are going to break some from the base where the stem meets. As you can see, I am cutting a lot of the roots, which it's not going to hurt the plant at all. It can actually kind of rejuvenate it. And crypts do like to melt. They shock a little bit, so they've already started melting, which I expected. So it'll take a little while to rebound, but then they're going to be totally fine. But it's nearly impossible to plant with those long gangly roots. And then just looking top down, this is kind of what we have. A lot of val and some crypts along the back. Everybody kind of fitting in real nice. I didn't leave a whole lot of space in back, and now it's just kind of time to adjust. This rock right here, looking at the footage, I'm not quite sure if I liked it, if I should have left it, but there's just countless options. I just kind of had to pick one. There is a couple funny things, I'm going to warn you, a couple funny things with the inhabitants that I add. One, I did need to keep in mind that they don't necessarily dig, but they can kind of mess with the substrate. So I didn't want to do a lot of stacking with the rocks, really heavy, high stacks of rocks, just in case, especially since the substrate is already in and I didn't want any shifting. And this was another thing. One of the parts of scaping is that you're going to try something and you're going to think you're going to like it, and then you look and you're like, oh, I don't like that at all. That's what happened here. I did not like the little rock scatter. I didn't like it at all. I really just like the clean black substrate in the outset, so this is me kind of trying to fix it a little bit. I don't mind the little black rocks like I'm adding right here, just to add a little bit of texture, but the colored rocks were just, oh, yuck. I did want to keep the focus on these rocks, but I did add a couple of small pieces of driftwood because of a particular inhabitant you'll see in just a little bit. Now, certain rocks, it's very rewarding when you find rocks that fit together that you can't tell where one ends and the other one starts. And I did really like how a little path is kind of formed on the left here. And then on the right, it's just kind of, it makes like a little circular area between the rock formation and that little piece of driftwood. It's just the little things when you look at a scape that either like or that bother you, and then you kind of have to change. And I will especially enjoy this val growing in and blocking the sponge filter. And this is the first of 3 additions to this tank, at least initially. I may add more of some other fun inhabitants later, we'll see. But the funny thing about these guys is, well, their size. They are very tiny right now, which looks kind of funny in here, but they can reach up to 1.5 inches or so. And a clown pleco, which I am enjoying seeing him now because they're notoriously elusive. So I wanted to make sure that he got some nice driftwood. He'll enjoy that. No tank is complete without some goofballs, and I've got the Flaming Arrow Gobies. They are so much fun to watch, so goofy. They're all around the tank, either kind of disrupting the substrate, which, they're having lots of fun. They'll perch on rocks, they'll perch on plants. I did not even plan that. such as he is demonstrating, but they are so funny. You'll find them stuck to the glass. They're just so much fun. I am so excited to see this tank grow in. We'll see how bad the crypts melt. They may do a little bit. Even the valve may melt a little bit. We'll see. But so far, super fun. Not sure if I'm going to add anybody else in here. Stay tuned, because I very possibly will add another fish at the top there, especially after Mr. Primetime gets some nice footage of the pencil fish, because they're just absolutely beautiful. So thank you so much for watching, and see you for the next scape.